is Marguerite, and today we're going to be talking about cooking for two or one. Yes, I am Gran, meaning grandma. There's an empty nest going on here with me and my partner called my husband, and he is the one behind the camera today. So we're going to get started with making pie crust for both a fruit filling pie as well as a custard. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I did not have time to start until right now. And yes, I could have gone to Sam's or Walmart or Costco and purchased a pie, but there's a difference when you make that pie crust yourself, and it's so delectable that you just can't get enough. So today we're going to focus on making a very quick pie dough, and then we're going to make some fillings to go in those pie doughs. One will be an apple pie, where you can control the amount of sugar, as well as a pumpkin pie. But I added a little twist to the pumpkin pie, and I made sweet potato. So we're going to add a little sweet potato to that mixture. Alrighty. I boiled one sweet potato, peeled it, boiled it, and mashed it up, and now it's ready for me to blend it into the pumpkin pie mix. If you don't want it blended in, don't worry about it. We can just use the custard. And the way we're going to make the custard today, as you will see later on, is that you'll have enough for a pie today, and then you can utilize the rest for Christmas, which is about a month from now. And you say, well, how am I going to do that for one or two people? It's just me and my husband. Well, this is just a regular bowl, but it can go into my oven. And I'm going to use this bowl, instead of buying another pie tin or something to go in another drawer that is only used sparingly, to make my pie. It's not quite a 9-inch tin, which we're accustomed to, or I discovered these on yours truly, Amazon. So there are 4 little pans, and what you can do is make individualized servings, or you can share them, which is probably better for you anyway. Today we're going to look at how to put all of this together the day before Thanksgiving and have enough left over for Christmas, so we don't have to do this again. This is our one time, and we're going to make it right. So at this time, we're just going to get started with our pie. No, actually, we're going to start with the filling for our pies, and we're going to do the pumpkin pie first, followed by the apple pie. Those of you who are in a rush, you might want to look at just what you want to see, and then speed on to the pie crust. So first of all, we're going to need some Granny Smith apples, and you can probably just purchase 2, or you can do 1. If you do 2, you probably could fill up this, and it'd have a nice little amount of apples in it, or you could probably do that mile-high stuffed, overstuffed pie in 2 of these. So we're going to grab a bowl, and let's get our peeler. Let me just focus on my hands right now. We're going to remove all of the outside of the apple right off of here. And it doesn't take you very long to do this, so just go ahead and peel it off. You're just taking off the outer part of it. If you have a core, that's great. If you don't have a core, don't worry about it. I'm trying to minimize the amount of utensils I keep in my kitchen, because I keep thinking one day I'm going to downsize even smaller than this home, and I'll be in an apartment or a condo or a tiny house or wherever where there's limited amount of space. And when you have limited amount of space, you have to really think about, what can I put together that's going to work for me? So that's all peeled. Let's pull another one, because we're only going to do 2 today. And as we continue to peel off, let's get that going. All of the green remove all of the green, or as much as you need to, off of your apples. And you see, it doesn't take you as long as you think, because you're not doing 6 or 7 apples, because there are only 2 of you. Or maybe there's only just you by yourself. But you want to have that special, special dessert tomorrow, or it's just any time you decide, oh, I'm going to have this time for myself to have a very healthy dessert. Because when you make it yourself, what happens is you don't have all those added sugars You know exactly what's in your food, and that's the key here to staying healthy. You really want to know, what am I putting in my body at all times? So we have 2 apples that we have completely peeled, and I'm going to step away for one moment and grab a board. The same board I'm going to use for when we begin the pastry. So I'm going to cut down on the sides. I'm just cutting down on the sides. And so, as opposed to, make sure you don't get any of the core in there. We're just cutting that. And now we're going to take and cut them again. And I want you to see how I'm cutting these. We're just, make sure your fingers are back away from that knife so that you don't get any nubs snapped off. And let's do our last 2 pieces. Okay, let's do this one. And if you want to make them super thin, you can. I want to show you something really quickly. This one apple would fill an entire pan. And then the second apple could begin to fill another pan. And voila, you have apple pies that are appropriate for you and your special someone. We have one more apple we need to cut up, so let's get this one cut up very quickly. Again, go down on the sides, place it down, place it over. And yes, I do have my little bowl here that I throw everything in. I toss everything in there. And if you think you have some core, go back over that part. I have a little bit of core there, so I'm going to cut that out because I don't want to eat that, and I don't want my husband to eat it either. So I'm going to make sure you keep your fingers back so that you don't cut yourself. Let's do the next one. And apples are so easy to do because they're soft and not stiff. You can get through them, and you see it's not taking us very long to make our apple filling. I bet you never made an apple filling that quickly. Okay, so let's move this off to the side. So now we have our apples, and we can move this over. We'll stack these back over there. So we have our apples. We're going to grab a little lemon juice. Let's grab out the fridge. Yes, I stepped away. This is real. This is real. It's not. There's no one helping me. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of the lemon juice in there and grab a spoon or a spatula, and we're going to mix it around so our apples don't get too brown as we mix together our sugar and our other spices that are going to go on this, and the juices are going to flow through this. So by the time we get ready to put this down in our crust, it is nice and the natural juices will have come out, but this is just to keep them from getting brown while we're doing that. So let's put this over to the side, put that right there so you can watch it and say, oh, doesn't that look good? Okay, real quick, we need some nutmeg. I use lemon, dash of salt, we need sugar. That's it. That's all you need. This is not, and for those of you who say, oh, I want a little bit something more than that, that's okay too. If you want to add some cinnamon to this, by all means, add cinnamon. And I'm going to add some cinnamon. So let me step away real quick and grab my cinnamon. This is real. Okay, so here we have our sugar. Grab a spoon, and we're going to spoon up our sugar. And on this, you need exactly, and let's say if you want to bring it down, you don't want to use as much in this. So what we're going to do is use a 1/2 cup of sugar. I'm just going to put a 1/2 cup. You could put a 1/4 cup of sugar in here. And I'm not going to quite go a 1/2 cup. I'm going to go a little less than a 1/2 cup of sugar in here. I'm going to put the sugar, just add your sugar. Put that over to the side. So you have your sugar. Now we're going to use a little bit of flour. And it says I would use about 1/8 cup, but this is a pretty big spoon, so I'm just going to use 1 spoonful, level it off. Let's add that in, return our lid, back to our flour, and at this point we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So what I'm going to do is remove all together my gap, and I'm going to get 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So get 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon and just sprinkle it in there. That always smells so good, so good. It says add a pinch of salt. I'm just going to do 3 shakes of my salt and I'm done. So what do we have in here? We have sugar, we have flour, cinnamon, and salt. Don't do this unless you're brave. I like nutmeg in everything during the holidays, so just a tap of nutmeg. Let's stir this around. Okay, get it all stirred around, get it all mixed up. And we're going to take this and sprinkle it over our apples. Mix your apples with the cinnamon, and we're just going to let this sit. The natural juices are going to flow out onto your apples, and by the time we get ready to put it into the crust, we're ready to go. So that's going to be there. I don't want to wash a lot of dishes, so we are going to immediately go to our pumpkin pie. I have organic pumpkin pie this year. Organic. My husband and I have made a commitment to reduce the footprint of sugar in our lives. And in doing so, this is it. So I haven't completely given up on sweet potatoes, but pumpkin pie will be the core of what we're doing. So at this time, I have a secondary bowl, and we're going to take 3/4 teaspoons of cinnamon. So get your 1/4 teaspoon together, ladies. And we're going to use 3 of these. So let's go. 1, 2, 3. That's 3/4 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now, we're going to take 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Let's get that nutmeg together. Okay. After we've added the nutmeg, we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. Let's add that ginger in there. Then we're going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of, let's see where we're at, salt. So I'm just going to estimate. I'm good at estimating. Don't. We also have a little cloves, so I'm going to put just a teeny, it's not quite a 1/4, 1/2 of of cloves in there. That's my own take. Don't put that in there if you don't want it. Mix that together. We're going to add our sugar. We need 3/4 cups of sugar, which comes out to be, let me grab a 1/2 cup. I think I have, nope, I don't. Let's grab a measuring cup, and let's add 3/4 cups of sugar, which is, we're going to add, and you don't have to add as much. I'm not going to quite add 3/4 cups. I'm going to add a little less, maybe more along the lines of 1/2 cup. So there we have that. Mix that together. And I'm using a fork because I want everything to blend together. So let's get that all blended together. Gotta love it, gotta love it, gotta love it. And it smells like, you know what it smells like? It smells like Thanksgiving. Christmas all wrapped up into one. Well, just going to open it like this, the old-fashioned way. Let's get our can open and get our milk ready. So the entire can is going to go in. And one thing I love about this is it does lift up for the most part, but it didn't do it this time. So let's get that lip up out of there. Alrighty. So we have our evaporated milk. We'll put that in there. Let's put these back away. And grab your pumpkin pie mix. Let's get the lid up. That is creamy. That is good. Ooh, that smells heavenly. It smells like we're ready to cook. It smells like we are ready to just get everything moving really rapidly here. Let me grab a spatula because this does not want to come out today. So let's get all of this out of our can. Let's get it all out. I do believe in recycling, so this will be recycled. I'm going to get as much of the organic pumpkin pie mix out of there. Let's put this over here. This can go in there. And that will go in there. Okay. So what we're going to do is add this entire can of cream, evaporated milk, in there. We're going to dispose of that. And we have our egg. But we're going to use our mixer and we're going to blend this together. Okay, at this point we're going to add our eggs that we've slightly beaten. Believe it or not, I still want to add my sweet potato pie. Now, if you don't want to add the sweet potatoes, that's okay, but I'm going to add in one small sweet potato that has been boiled, peeled, and mashed together. So now we have two different fillings. We have a custard filling and we have a fruit filling for apple pie as well as for the pumpkin pie. Okay? Everything is here. We're ready to begin, except for we're missing one key ingredient, and that is our crust. So let's do this very quickly. Let's pop these out. These in here along with this because they all need to be washed. We're going to move this out of our way, and you can take and put this portion of the top of the mixer away wherever it goes. These can go in here. You're done with that. You're done with this. So now everything is in a bowl, and your counter is almost cleaned off. You have the knife in there. So you're almost back to normal. So let's put this over here. So now we have our two fillings. And we need to make our pie dough. Add that apple to our stash right there. And that's what we're going to do last but not least. Cleaning. Alrighty now, the fun part. What is the fun part, you ask? The fun part is making this crust. We have two fillings and we have no crust. So let's get moving on that. This is the most simplistic part of everything we are going to do today. It is the quintessential of what we do. If you have a Cuisinart, you can use it. If you don't, later on I'm going to show you a variation of how to take and make the same dough using just a fork or two, or using a pastry blender. So I'm going to show you, the first way is with a Cuisinart. The second way is with a pastry blender or a fork. So if you have really truly downsized, partially downsized, or if you're still waiting to downsize, you may have this. Let's get moving. We need 2 cups of flour. So let's get 2 cups of flour. And you can level it off if you are one of those exact mongrels. Grab a knife and you can level it off. Oops. I don't know. Hey, life happens. How can that, what can I say? I keep doing it. Okay, so it's telling me I don't need as much. So let's get this in there. That's 1. And now we're going for number 2. Let's hope we do a better job on this one. Okay, so we're gonna level, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, if you're like me, you've done this 1,000,001 times. Okay, therefore, let's tap that. Let's get everything off the top of it. So we have 2 cups of flour, and I'm going to leave that in there. I need exactly, let's just do this right. You need a tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to only use half of this, so it's about a tablespoon of sugar. That's mixed in there. We're going to put a pinch of salt. Now, the piece de resistance. Butter. Butter, 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 and sugar. Make sure they are cool. That's why I haven't heated up those stoves or those ovens. Why? Because I need my kitchen cool to make this happen. We need 1 1/2. Ladies, let's go. 1 1/2. Let's get this open. Open that butter all the way up. And once you get that butter all the way open, you're going to take and you're going to just, oops, have fun with it. Have fun. This is some charred butter. Oh gosh, it's been in the fridge. It's unsalted. It's unsalted, and it's solid. Okay, now I probably should have gone and made my cubes a little smaller, just on GP. And the reason you want to do that so that when it gets in a Cuisinart, it breaks down a lot easier than if you don't. Those of you who still have your blenders, your full-fledged blenders, you put that dough hook on there, it'll whip it around. So there are 2 things we're going to do. First of all, let's put this top in here, and we're going to pulse this just to mix in the salt and the sugar. Okay, that's ready. Let's pop this off, and we're going to add the first of the ingredients, which is that butter. Let's put that butter in there. Oh, you don't get this from any store-bought pie. You can't taste it. You can't see it. They say it's in there. You never know it. This is the one time we get some decadence, is when you do it yourself. It's called do it yourself. Okay, let's dispose of that in our garbage. This time I'm going to do a little differently. Let's caress it down the middle. Divide it. Have a little bit of symmetry there. No, I don't think there be any symmetry there, but the most important thing is I want you to see, this is solid. When I say this is solid, this is solid. I mean, it is really solid. Solid, solid. Okay, let's get all that butter in there. Now, let's wipe our hands off. Whew, that was a lot of fun. Okay, so we have 1.5 cold sticks of unsalted butter. Now we're going to use a 1/4 cup of shortening. I love Crisco that's in the packaging because it's easier to measure. So if I need a 1/3 cup, it says 1/3 cup is right there. I don't have to guess about it. I cut it. I return the remainder in here. Okay, here we go. This is the fun part. We have a 1/3 cup, but we're going to pulse this sucker. So let's do this. Let's just do a pulse right quick. Woo! Woo! Pulse, 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 pulse. Okay, now we're going to start adding this water. And we have to add it all. So I want you to see that. Pulse, 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 pulse. Don't let it go like that, though. Okay, let's add a little bit more water. And keep pulsing it. And you see the dough is starting to crumble up and form into a ball. Or it should be forming into a ball. And if it's not, we're going to add a little bit more water, just a little bit. Okay, let's take this lid off, and you'll see that it's pretty much in a ball. It's all together. It's solid. Let's pull that up. Pull it up, 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 pull it up. Sometimes you'll get the ball straight up, sometimes you won't. So let's go back over here. Let's put that in there. We're going to take about a tablespoon of our sugar, and we're going to spread it out over here. We're going to grab our dough, our wonderful dough. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. You can see the buttery. This is butter. This is pure decadence. Okay. You now have, and if you don't have a board, just put down, you'll see pieces of butter in there. This is so delectable. This is so good. Now you say, I'm only making this for myself. I don't need all of that dough. Well, the good thing about homemade dough is you can slice it and wrap it in with Glad wrap and put it in the freezer, and it'll stay for a year. It's something that you don't have to constantly, but I want to get all of this goodness out of here. There's so much goodness in here. So let me grab all of my goodness. And I want you to see that. And there are 2 ways you can slice this. If you have a pastry cutter, you can cut it. If you don't have a pastry cutter, bum, 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 bum. You have a knife. Use that knife, okay? You can cut it with that, or you can cut it with the pastry. Your choice. I'm going to cut it with the knife because I believe most of you have a knife. So let's just cut it. Woo! You now have 2 pieces of solid dough that you can utilize. So we're going to take and move that over there. And let me grab this little plate that I have here, and we're going to put this right, I'm going to sprinkle a little flour in there. Feel the love. Let it sit. Okay, so now we have our dough, and you're saying, okay, what are we going to do with this dough? What are we going to make with this dough? Well, let's do 2 things. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Honey, bring that camera up here so they can see this countertop. Over here, I have a countertop oven. Why? Most of us, we're tired of using this humongous oven, which runs up our bills tremendously. So I have a countertop oven, and this is by Curtis Stone. It's very easy to use. You push start, And we know that the custard pie has to go on 425. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. It's on bake. My temperature, I'm going to push temp, and I'm going to take it to 425. And once I get it to 425, I'm going to go to my timer, and I'm going to say 14 minutes. This is going to heat up. And once it's heated up, then that custard is going to go into that pie crust, and I'm going to have that pie, okay? So that'll take care of that. This is what we're doing here, okay? I also have a secondary one, which is from Emerald Lagasse. This is an air fryer, and I'll be honest, I love air fryers for one reason. You can do French fries, but you can also do fried chicken without the grease. And I purchased this basically because I like air frying. However, it does bake, it broils, it does everything that the Curtis Stone over there does. The bottom line is they both serve a function. It allows me to cook multiple things at one time without having to turn this on, and it cooks in half the time that normally, or I'm going to say at least a third of the time it's reduced on. So over here, we can put in our apple pie as well. But the apple pie, and I do store these in here, it's going to go in a little casserole dish. So we'll have apple cobbler as opposed to an apple pie. And the pumpkin mix will go into the larger pans that I have. So for this one, we need to set it at 350. So let's get this started. We're going to get this started for, first of all, we don't want air fry. And I'm going to take it down to 350. Let's get this on 350. It's a temperamental little beast. I'm going to leave it there. Turn off the light. And we're going to start. Okay. So that's heating up to 350. I'm sorry. Okay. So that'll be heating up to 350. But in the meantime, what we're going to do, let's come over here and we're going to roll out our doughs for our pies. And you may need to make some more dough. But you see how quickly we have been working. In just a half an hour, we have made 2 fillings. And I actually love a ceramic. For one, nothing sticks to it. Unlike when you have a wooden one, everything sticks. And you're fighting with it all the time. All the time. You notice this? Nothing sticking. Nothing sticking. Let's get a little bit on our... So, let's go. And I want you to see, I'm just rolling this out. Take your time. It's not a rush. There's no must. You're ahead of schedule. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. And you say I'm still in the kitchen and I didn't want to be in the kitchen. I could have gone to the store, but your store isn't going to give you what you're going to get when you do it yourself. So let's get corrected on that one. So there are a couple things we're going to do. First of all, so because I'm using that pan and not the other pan, let's move that out of our way. We are going to, I'm going to look at this and measure and say I need about half of this. So let's get half of this up. Let's get half of this up. And this is the reason I really like this, because it makes my life so much easier when I'm trying to get this crust up off of this board and in that pan. I don't have to fight with it. It just comes over. We put it in the pan and we can smooth it out however we want to. We have some excess here. We're able to say, let's cut that off. That oven is ready. And as soon as I'm ready, I can go over and put my pumpkin pie in. It's already timed out. My apple pie will go into my other oven. Okay, so this is our apple, and we're going to take and put our apples in here. Oh gosh, I have juice. I have juice. I have juice and everything else at the bottom of this. So we're going to put all of that in there. And you see it has its own natural juice. And as it cooks, or bakes rather, it's going to all come out and it's all healthy. And you have a reduced amount of sugar in there. One thing I want to do is grab my butter right quick. And I'm going to put a couple of dollops of butter right at the top of this pie before I put the crust on. So this is what makes it your pie. So just cut off a few slithers. Watch your fingers. Place those in there, just so. And then, let's have some fun here, folks. Let's put that butter on there. Let's remove that knife. And I know, you say, I don't have that. I don't have that board. I'm going to put that crust up top. You see how well that fit? It went right down there. You're not going to get that when you buy that pie from the store. I guarantee you, you're not going to get all of that. Let's pinch it and let's close it out. You could wipe it, the top of it, with some whipping cream. I'm not doing that today. I'm just closing this pie up because I want it done and in the oven. And my other oven is ready. So I need to get this. Let's grab a fork and let's poke some holes in this. So we have the steam to escape. And this is going to go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes. So we're just going to put this one back here. And we're going to come back over and we're going to work on our next crust for our pumpkin pie. So, get a little flour. Woohoo! Not too much. Okay. And you might say, I don't need all of this because I'm only making the bottom, and you may not. But I'm going to make a little thicker crust, so just bear with me because this is a little bit deeper, deep dish, and let's bring it to bear. Okay, there we go. You probably say, oh, that's enough for 2 pies. Well, we made 2 pies today. Well, there's only one of me. Well, the other one would have ordinarily gone in the freezer. We would have wrapped this up and put it in the freezer. But today, we're going to roll it out, and now we're going to take and we're going to place it in here, and we're going to add our custard. And let's take and pinch the ends, make it look all pretty for tomorrow. You want it to look pretty for tomorrow. When we put it out on the table so everyone can ooh and ah, and then gobble it up. That's the key to it. You want it to look pretty, but you want it to be ever so delectable for your family. And I have quite a bit of dough over here, so I'm going to take some of this dough. I'm gonna remove a little bit of it and put it over here so we can get an even slant on our dough. So let's just get all that together. Voila! And let's come back over here and grab that. It's been sitting, so let's stir it around. And you probably say, what is she doing? Well, I'm making pumpkin, deep dish pumpkin. You see that? Oh, okay. You now have a pumpkin pie, and let's walk this one over to our oven. At 425. We're going to put it in the oven. Whoosh, careful. And push start. And now it's going. So what do you have here? You have a very quick, no more than 4 ingredients: flour, sugar, salt, butter, Crisco. Make it 5. To make your crust in less than 5 minutes. Roll it out. Put it in your pans. You're done. We started with baking our custards ahead of time, and so I have some residual, so I'm going to make some more pies. And what I'm going to do is bake the pie, and then I'm going to semi-bake it, and I'm going to put it in the freezer so it freezes, and we have pie for Christmas. The apple pie, 2 apples, peeled, sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, little flour. Voila, you have apple pie. You have the apple pie as well as pumpkin pie, and you accomplished all of this in less than, 45 minutes. I did a lot of talking, but the bottom line is you can downsize what you're cooking or baking or preparing for yourself and your partner, versus buying something out of the store and you know you want to eat, but you can't consume the same amounts of sugar and salt that you had been eating 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, maybe 60 or more, but you still want to have it. I encourage you to look around your kitchen, and I'm going to ask my husband to do a walk with me very quickly. Look around your kitchen and decide, what do I really need to cook for 2 people? And for 2 people, instead of having a humongous mix master, I have a hand beater. Instead of having a lot of gadgets, I do have the Custard, because it allows me to beat the dough up, as you saw earlier today. So this is what I use. I use this. I use the mixer, the hand mixer. I do have bowls. The melanin bowls seem to be the most popular. Unhinge it and bring it over. But while he's doing that, I'm just going to continue talking to you. Just downsizing, and I really do want you to see this. It's called downsizing. You don't need all of this stuff. A shelf full of spices. That's what you need. Mixing bowls. There's a toaster. Whenever I have excessive things I need to store, I have those up there. Those are my extras from when I run out, I can bring them down. But that's what you need. There are only 2 of you. When you come into this cabinet, honey, come on, let me show them this. There are 2 plates. Why are there 2 plates? There's only 2 of us. Why are there 2 bowls? I know you see a 3rd bowl. Well, that 3rd bowl is for when I need an extra bowl, but usually for fruit that goes on the counter. So what do you have? You have 2 bowls. And yes, I have these 2 bowls. I've had them for 40 years. They don't make things like they used to make them. This is the first year we got married. These were Christmas gifts. It's the only thing that's still here that we have from 40 years ago. But 2 plates, 2 bowls, 2 cups for work, 1 cup for tea from Carla, another cup for morning tea. That's my evening tea cup. And this is my morning tea cup. This is from Fran, and this is from Carla. So everything I have has a purpose. If it doesn't need to be there. It's with anything and everything. This is all empty. Why? Because they gave you extra space does not mean you need to fill that space in. Minimize, begin to downsize, because as I said, one day you'll be in an apartment and you may only have this space from here to here with a stove top, only a stove top, and a countertop. How are you going to utilize that space and make it work for you? What do you need to do to begin to downsize so that you can still have wonderful custard pies or fruit pies, but you don't need 10 million pots to make it happen? You probably say, oh, she has a tea kettle. Yeah, I have a tea kettle here, and I have a frying pan, and I have one stock pot, and two other 2-quart pots that I utilize to cook with. Why? There are only 2 of us. How much are we going to eat at any given time? A lot of things we have just for the sake of having them. But when it comes to baking, I do, as you saw, these pans were stored in there. Over here, I keep pans stored in here as well. That little board I rolled everything out on sits right here. It has a dual purpose. I use it for chopping, I use it for baking. It is everything that I simply need to make life work for us. These are going to continue baking, and when we fly back around, yes, we're going to cut it off and come back, because I'm not going to talk to you for 45 minutes today. But the bottom line is, it's having fun even when you don't want to be in the kitchen. And I'm going to tell you, we've spent a lifetime in kitchens. We've spent time cooking for ourselves, we spent time cooking for the kids, and now we occasionally get the joyful opportunity of preparing food for the grandkids. But it's been a lifetime, and most of the time, you just don't want to be in the kitchen. Let's just be honest. We don't want to be in the kitchen. We've been doing this a long, long time, but occasionally, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, I will break down and come into this kitchen and bake my favorite apple cobbler. And the first time, this is making sweet potato pie with pumpkin pie. So we get a little bit of the past and a little bit of the present. So until we come back in about 45 minutes, go ahead, clean up the kitchen, kick your feet up, and I'll see you later. Bye now. Everyone, we're back again, and our apple pie is ready. It is bubbling. It is out of the oven. It took approximately 30 minutes in the air fryer by Emerald Lagasse. We're still waiting on the pumpkin pie, which is almost done here. But both pies are done, and you're pretty much done with everything. Remember, with the pumpkin pie, you're going to start at 425 for about 14 minutes, and then you're going to bring the temperature down to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and you'll allow it to continue to bake. And at that point, it's almost done. And I'm going to actually come over and take a real quick peek inside of this oven, and you'll see that we're almost done with our pumpkin pie. We have about 15 more minutes to go on that. And voila, you have 2 pies for Thanksgiving tomorrow. I want everyone to remember to be thankful and grateful that we have this opportunity to be with the ones we love. Or if we can't be with them in person, we can be with them via Skype or FaceTime or Zoom or Google. But enjoy your day, enjoy your family, and I look forward to seeing you again as we continue to cook for 2 or 1. This is Grand Marguerite signing off. Until next time.